Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. Got a little video I'm going to do today that I think you're going to find super interesting. Today's date is December 20th, 2020. 9 years ago today, on December 20th, 2011, the police were called to my house. And that's going to be the biggest part of this video here, that I'm going to tell you about what happened that night and how impacted I think it was. Some things that were said, and then 39 days later, I was ambushed and shot in my home with my phone lines cut. And so and I sit here and I listed out just kind of a event timeline to give you an idea, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But so you have the history and you understand what was going on. Basically, I transferred into Midland from Hobbs. I was a company man with a major oil and gas company, DCP Midstream, half owned by Phillips Petroleum. They offered me a position here in Midland, Texas, and so I come in here and I bought this home, and the previous homeowner dies a couple of weeks before I transferred in town, actually the week before the 2008 oil show started, which is important. So we know that it was Michael Ahan. He died, and that was on October 12th, 2008. Okay, so that's when I come in. His widow dropped the price of this home $35,000 and offered it to me. And I was later told by the ex-wife, "You were chosen to buy this home." I believe that to be true. So I think she knows something. Of course, I think maybe the realtor knows something, etc. But I was chosen to get into this special rigged home that has the hidden access, the underground facility in the backyard, etc. Okay, and so Matt Hyman dies there October 12, 2008. Okay. 2 years later, around October 20th, that week, was the 2010 oil show. Okay. And that was when my friend Angie McGee Hurley told me about the young girl that was murdered at the oil show party that she was at. She was leaving my home and she was at the party in 5 minutes. I know this because we were talking on the phone as she's driving. The phone records will prove that, and it was going on every day of that week. These parties were going on after the oil show was during the daytime. These are the after-hour parties. They're put on by wealthy oil men. They're very famous, drugs, prostitution, etc. I believe they're going on in the $1 Million Underground homes. Multiple people have said was here. A recent sheriff candidate, Joe Lozano, said that our former sheriff, Gary Painter, that was his hideout, or that's where he used to hang out. And I believe that to be true. He was probably there at the oil show parties during that time. But she told me about that young girl being murdered. In 2013, the remains of a young girl were found outside of Midland. I've been working with the Texas Rangers and Midland Sheriff Department and Sheriff Kreiner, because I believe the girl Angie told me about murdered at the oil show parties is the same one found in 2013, and I believe that happened in the underground homes that were said to be here by multiple people. Okay, and also connected, of course, back to the murder attempt on my life. Okay, so then here in September 21st, 2011 is when the ex-wife and I made what I call the extortion video, or where she admitted to extortion. The name of the video, I named it "Follow the Money," and we're going to listen to that right here, and so you can hear her and hear that conversation between me and her. We were married right after that. I wanted it on. I want a record of her, of what was going on, and so it wasn't a secret recording. She knew it was going on, and so
you're the one that was going to make money off of it. See, I could never figure out why would this all happen, and then all of a sudden, wow, who the hell is going to follow the cash? Follow the cash. Who's going to make money off this house being broken in? And how in the world can you know and say that somebody's coming across the attic and breaking in the house and turn around and go, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to pay me $1,800 or $1,200 a month, or I'm going to lie about everything that I've seen and tell everybody you're crazy." You're the only one that was going to make money off the house. Does that tie you back into the people breaking in the house?
No.
Conspiracy?
Absolutely not.
Huh?
Absolutely not. In your mind, yes. Obviously it does. In your mind, obviously it does.
I'm standing from the outside.
No, it's absolutely not true.
I stand from
the truth of the matter is that's
And
what Greg
opportunist
suggested.
is a crime or opportunity. How's that? Okay, right? Because it was available. Okay?
Whatever.
Maybe you're not involved. It was just crime of opportunity, right?
It was, you know what? It was a mistake. I shouldn't have listened. I got bad advice.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's the truth. That's the truth. It's the truth.
yeah, I know, but we all get advice from everywhere. But we
And
don't
I
think
took it.
if I say go kill the president, you go kill the president.
I took
Hello,
the
you
wrong
got to make
advice.
up your own mind.
Yeah.
You don't go kill the president because I told you to go kill
I
the
made a
president.
mistake.
You know.
We've been through
Well,
this.
let's quit blaming
I made
Greg.
a mistake.
Okay.
I made a mistake.
You made a mistake.
And then so y'all just heard this incredible video, right, where she admitted to felony extortion, $1,800 a month, and which I didn't pay, and then she carried out the extortion threat later. But we got married on September 29th, 2011. A week later, we went to Cabo. That was our honeymoon, and then December 7th, just a month and a half later or so, my mom dies with unanswered questions in Hobbs, New Mexico. Them questions are still unanswered. I've got videos on that. I suspected that she knew something about that, and then right after that happened, this is in December of 2011. Then I'm at work one day and I get this phone call, and it was from her friend named Greg, and he's the one you heard about in the video. Greg called me at work, and I bet my phone records would show that he was her wealthy friend from Nebraska. He was so wealthy he had a jet airplane. That's what she told me. Anyway, he calls and tells me that she's threatening suicide. She had my gun and she was threatening suicide. Did I know where she's at? And I didn't, but I left work and I went looking for her, and I found her at her apartments at Caldera. That's where it was at. The police were called over there, so there's a police record of her threatening suicide that day. And this was right after my mom died. Okay, and I really, to this day, I don't know why she threatened suicide, but I wondered later if somebody told her they were going to murder me. Maybe that's what was going on, or that she was going to be involved and they were going to kill me or something. I don't know. I just know that she threatened suicide during that time, and the police released her. They didn't arrest her or whatever, and but she had to promise to go see her doctor, her psychiatrist. And so, I was the husband, and I went with her, and we went over to Odessa. It was an Odessa doctor that I won't name, and he was subpoenaed, though. His records were subpoenaed for the protective order in 2013, and here's why. It's because while we're sitting in there, and he's talking to her, he is, and she's there because she threatened suicide. He reminds her about the time with the bikers. So evidently she'd done it before, something to do with the bikers, and she threatened suicide before, And then he also reminded her about that time that she felt so guilty about getting her daughter involved in prostitution. I heard that doctor tell her that in that office, something I didn't know. That's what I brought up in the protective order here. And of course, the assistant district attorney, Stacy Jewett, was like, "Object, Your Honor, object, stop, object. We don't want the truth to come out. The district attorney don't want the truth to be told in court, And of course, the judge, "Oh, yeah, let's stop, and so that didn't come out. But you can see that in the transcript where I tried to bring that up, and we subpoenaed them records, and they wouldn't even allow them, which I thought, are pertinent to what's going on. So anyway, that happens. And then here was this date, and that's what we're talking about on this video, December 20th, 2011. I come home from work, and I was looking for my gun. I couldn't find my gun. And I was concerned because these people break into my house every day, This was before they ambushed and shot me on phone lines cut, And I was starting to suspect that she knew something about it, because see, she was pretending that she didn't, is really what was going on. And so I found my gun. It was basically done or over, but she called the police anyway. And actually there was she called more than once, and I see that on the police report. And I think they were doing some planning in the background, because now I know, she has her lifelong childhood friend from grade schools, Detective Rosa Rodriguez, is highly involved in all these crimes and everything, And so I think that was all this planning in the background here. And so anyway, the police come over, and I'm waiting for them to get here. And I've got my phone, and I have text message from her. And I'm going to show them these text messages to show how crazy this is. What's been going on is crazy. These are the messages she's been sending me. So they arrive. And how you doing? And here, let me show you. I have my phone in my hand like this, and that police officer, he slaps the phone out of my hand, handcuffs me in my living room, by surprise. I'm just caught totally off guard. Boom, I'm behind my back, and he's taking me out the door, down the street, puts me into the back of this police car. And as he's putting me in, I look down, there's a baggie of marijuana laying in the seat. The threat of being framed was very clear without saying a word. A second police officer shows up, okay? And this guy was wearing glasses. I recognized him from a week earlier when the ex-wife had threatened suicide. He was over there at the Caldera Apartments on that call, and it's like, oh, you know me, I know you, now you understand how crazy this is, what's going on here. And so we're in the car, there's a two police officer and me sitting in the back seat with a bag of marijuana laying there, and what's going on, Mr. Webb? And I'm explaining to him these repeated break-ins to my house that I've been calling the police about that I suspect's connected to human trafficking or sex trafficking, And I even offered to show. Let me show you some evidence I found in the attic. Let's I'll show you. No, we don't want to see that. And then they tell me, it says, we better not be called over here again for this stuff, And see, 39 days later, when I'm ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut, and burglar alarms were going off over and over, that's documented on the nurse's report that I said that, right? The burglar alarms in my attic were going off over and over before I shot. The reason I didn't call the police was because of that threat that night, because I had been told by the police that I was worried that they're going to frame me, corrupt police, that's been a problem all along, is this police corruption problem, while I'm trying to report crimes, people breaking in my home, and I find out even the previous homeowner, he was telling his friend people were breaking his home before he died, and I'm suspecting he was murdered and carried to Fort Worth. Anyways, the police leave. I come back in my home, and I find the text messages on my phone. I was going to show them they'd been deleted, and that's just incredible. I mean, it is so dirty. It's unbelievable how dirty it is. And there's a couple things the ex-wife told me that night that I thought were really important. And one thing she says, we're creating a document trail on you. That's what I'm going to name this video, document trail. Okay. And so I believe that. That's probably what they were planning, the multiple police reports and calls and all that before they even got here. They were planning this document trail, And it looks like, because I'm ambushed and shot 39 days later with my phone lines cut, they were planning a document trail to cover up my murder. I think that is a logical assumption, And then I look back and I'm going, they created a document trail on Mike Lawhon before he died, because I'm sitting there and I remember that when I first looked at this house with my realtor, Janine Pruitt, she told me he's incarcerated for drugs. I had no reason to think different, I didn't think they'd put him in the backseat of a police car with a bag of drugs in there and then arrested him, and they were creating a document trail on him before they murdered him. I didn't think about that. Nobody would, right? Nobody would think the police would be that dirty, I'm a lifelong supporter of police, But that's what I'm thinking. If they're creating a document trail on me, here's the guy that's reporting crime to them and, trying to make Midland a safer place, then, I got a feeling they created a document trail on Mike Lawhon, the guy that lived here before me. The other thing that she told me that night, she said, Danny said, we'll just take your house, And I would later, after I was ambushed and shot, I asked my brother, whose name's Danny, if I told him that she had told me that, and he totally denied that even saying anything about it, So to this day, we don't know who Danny is, but obviously whoever Danny is that the ex-wife was talking about that was going to take my house, it was going to murder me and take my house, right? I mean, that's what it looks like, because there's an underground home in the backyard that was used for oil show parties, and they murdered that young girl and all that stuff. Okay. So anyways, that was that night, and that's what happened on December 20th, 2011. And I told them then, I'm done. That was my last straw. We just got married a couple months before that, and I was done, man, And I told her, I'm cutting my losses, boy. You're out of here, And I want a divorce. And so she moves out and takes, and we have Christmas actually next, right? Because that's the 25th. But she moves out and on the around the 30th, right before the New Year's, okay. And she takes my life insurance books without me knowing it, okay. And that's real important because they showed that I had an accidental death policy that I paid for, right, for my loved ones, because that's why you have life insurance for your loved ones. That added an additional $500,000, almost $500,000. If my murder was ruled an accident, if I died accidentally, then it added about $500,000. She would know that because she took them life insurance books when we separated without me knowing it. And then on January 14th, a couple weeks later, I stopped that home invasion. I got videos on this by putting electricity on my bedroom doorknob. I recognized somebody was in my house trying to come in my bedroom. I secured the door. I put electricity on the doorknob. And that's the day that it's believed that an attorney landman named Matt Hyman died in my hallway. Really, probably to be more accurate, his friends saw him get electrocuted and let him die. I mean, because if they would have called 911 and started giving him CPR, then they probably saved his life. Because I mean, electricity stops the heart, but it also restart the heart if you get in there, get the defibrillator on them, and you get them help. But they were breaking into a private home, my home, and they were going to go to jail, right, because they're committing a crime. And more than that, they come from the underground entrance. All my other doors were secured. That's where they come from. They were probably in the underground home in the backyard, which is probably an illegal casino brothel. Anyways, that was on the 14th that Matt Hyman dies. Same day I put electricity on my doorknob, and I believe he was killed in this hallway. And that's important. A few days after that, the ex-wife comes by and brings them life insurance books back. And that's when I found out they were gone. During that time period, in just that 2-week time period that they were gone from my house, my sister-in-law, Mitzi Webb, told me she saw them. So somewhere in that time, the ex-wife saw my sister-in-law from Hobbs, Mitzi, and Mitzi knew that she had taken my life insurance book. So, police can talk to Mitzi and because she told me that, and it's my sister-in-law, tell them, Mitzi, I mean, you told me that you saw them books. That verifies she took them life insurance books, which is important because the ex-wife's boyfriend is on record saying that he overheard her planning my murder to steal life insurance with her corrupt police friends. And I've got a document where he said that. He's actually been saying that she was involved in this shooting for 8 years. And his story's never changed, Arthur Welch is his name. I got the documents on that. Okay. So anyways, on January 23rd, here we go, a week later, I filed for divorce, okay? And then 5 days after that, I'm ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in the attic. Now proof's been found showing that I wasn't shot with my gun. So we know somebody shot me from under my home, right? Just reported a suspected tunnel to the DEA. I mean, we can pull the records up on that. Multiple people documented saying there's tunnels and underground homes are here. We can go investigate them. I mean, so absolute 100% proof there, And then multiple people documented, homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, Texas, and other states, reporting people in the attic, okay? Same thing I reported when I'm ambushed and shot. All them other people, their lives is in danger. It is, And so here's all that proof right there. And then finally, the divorce was made final in March 26, 2012, okay? A couple months later after I had survived the murder attempt. And so we go to court, and the judge goes, and so agrees. It's final. It's finalized. It gets filed with the court. Okay, I come home, and I get a phone call from the ex-wife, and we can pull these records up. And she asked me if I changed the beneficiaries over yet. And so I think that's kind of important, because a lot of people said, I told her, yeah, that's the first thing I did. As soon as I did, I changed the beneficiary, because you're not allowed to change the beneficiary before the divorce, right? And if I would have died before the divorce was official, she was going to get a paid-for house with $1 million underground facility in the backyard where they murdered that little girl and all this, assets and 401k and life insurance and all that, And so, some people said there's going to be a last minute Hail Mary. Oh, Buddy died by accident right after his divorce was final, but he didn't change the beneficiaries yet, or whatever, But I had, and I didn't. But the thing is she called. So, and if you're law enforcement, ask her. Did you call Buddy Webb and ask if he changed his beneficiaries after that divorce was final that day? And she did. And go look up the phone records. She did. And so I'm going to show you these police reports that was from that night, and we'll close this video out. You can see my tripod there. That's what I was just made that video, and here's what I was looking at right here, because I had it drawn up, and here, on the date, Matt Hyman dies, and there's the oil show party, and the extortion threat video. Get married, go to Cabo. My mom mysteriously dies. She threatens suicide. We go see her psychiatrist. Police called to my home on December 20th, 2011. That's what this video is about. Moving out December 30th. Suspected that Matt Hyman died in my hallway on the 14th. I filed for divorce on January 23rd, and then here, January 28, 2012, is that I'm ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut, right? And then finally on March 26th, the divorce was final. And then after it was final, she called me and asked if I'd switch the beneficiaries. And this here is that police report. And there was another one. There was 2 police reports for this night. One was open and then it was closed, and then this was open. And I think that's when they were doing their planning to create their document trail. Remember, she told me that we're creating a document trail on you. And so there's the timestamps on them. It was January 20, 2011 at 7:18 p.m. in the evening. And here's the write-up. Buddy Webb came home, told wife that someone has been getting in their house and stealing stuff, and she's been letting them in. Advised that he hid the firearm, claimed that she stole it. Advised the husband's going crazy and is currently being treated for ADHD, And then here's the 2 officers, and I'm not sure which one was the first officer and which one was the second officer, but it's Blake Bush, Trent Sellers. And what I do know is the one that was wearing glasses was the second one that showed up. He's not the one that handcuffed me, and the second one that showed up that was wearing glasses is the one that I'd seen a week or so earlier when she had threatened suicide. Okay, and also here, I've made a big point of this, male extremely 1096, and that's the modus operandi for all these homeowners report somebody in the attic. They're called 1096. That looks like that's how they've been covering up these burglaries, thefts, and murders, etc. And even on my very first call for a burglary, and that wasn't even for somebody in the attic. I just recognized somebody was in my house. I was, a 27-year company man, a granddad, homeowner, recognized that somebody had been in my house, found a sliding glass door open, and on the very first call, they wrote possibly 1096. They were already setting me up to call me crazy to cover up the crimes. And all them, and many of them other calls with them other homeowners here reporting people in the attic, automatically that's what happens. They get called crazy. Life-destroying lies are told about them to cover up them crimes. And so hope y'all found this interesting and share a story.